What's up guys, Asian here again with another theory crafting video, and this is kind of going over dual wield traits that for the new DLC that's coming out, Wolfhunter. I'm sorry if I'm kind of have to collect my thoughts a little bit. We're kind of in the process of moving things around between our new apartments, so I've been kept kind of busy. So apologies if I'm like kind of scramble brained right now, because my mind's on a lot of things right now. But going on to what this video is about. So in the new PTS patch notes, let me just really quick pull those up for us. There was a change to the infused bug for stamina DPS. Now, if you guys don't know what the infused bug is, if you have an infused enchant, or infused trait I should say, on any of your weapons, so your main hand or your offhand, it actually affects both of them in that it reduces the weapon cooldown for both enchants. So you can see here that they fixed it here. So they fixed an issue where the cooldown reduction was applying to both of your enchants while you were dual wielding. So it didn't matter if the infused was on your main or your offhand, it would affect both of your enchants. So that's why nirn infused is the meta right now, because the infused offhand is buffing the enchant on your main hand. It's letting it proc basically twice as often as it should. So this bug was fixed. And so the natural question is, how much of a DPS loss is this? Do I need to transmute my weapons to something else? You know, what's the new best trait combination going to be for melee DPS who are not using two-handers? So I did go out and test this. I tested out 6 different combination of traits. So the first one was a typical nirn infused. Then the second one here is infused precise. So this was the meta back before they buffed nirn in Horns of the Reach. So this is what people used to be running back in like Homestead or Morrowind, infused precise. And then we tried out nirn precise because nirn was buffed, so we do need to take that into consideration. Perhaps it's still very strong on your main hand here. And then we did infused just to see if that did anything. Precise and nirn. Now unfortunately the PTS, I'm getting an error 103. Apparently this is an issue that's going on, and I have to wait till tomorrow in order to get back onto the PTS. So we can't really show you guys what my build was, but it was basically Stamina Nightblade, Wood Elf, Perfect Reliquin with Selene and Advancing of Kata, 2 daggers. The main hand had a poison enchant, the offhand had a weapon damage enchant, and Maelstrom bow with a double ravage health poison. So pretty much your standard cut and dry Stamina Nightblade best in slot gear combo basically. And basically did all the parsers that we did on a 6 million dummy. We did 5 of each just so we can get a running average. Now the thing that I do want to keep in mind here is that there is some variation obviously, so we did calculate out the standard deviations, so it still needs a little bit more testing here. So the averages are right here. And so you can see here that nirn infused did drop. So I used to be able to pull around 49, 50, if I got lucky with crits, 51k on a Stamina Nightblade, but now it dropped down to about 47.8, 47.9. You can see here I did manage to get 48.5 one time, but it's definitely a DPS drop. On average I was hitting closer to 47.8, like high 47s, compared to the like mid 49s that I used to pull on live right now. There is some variation here, mainly because of that 48.6. So again, depending on how well you are able to execute your rotation, that could you know, play a little bit of a difference here in the variation here. Now for infused precise and the other 5, they're all pretty much within 1 standard deviation of each other. So 48.6 for infused precise, 48.4 for nirn precise. Infused was again 48.4, 48.5 for precise, and 48.5 for nirn. You can see here all the standard deviations are down here. It's about 200 DPS or so, which basically puts them all within 1 standard deviation of each other, which basically means this. Any of these combinations are going to work. Obviously, you kind of want to look at what's the max parses. So I managed to break 49 on infused precise once. The least amount of variation was in nirn precise, but the other ones pulled very, very well. You can see here 48,890 in precise for strikes, 48,990 with nirn. So it doesn't seem like there's any necessarily going to be a 1 best in slot necessarily. Infused precise does seem to win out just because it has the highest 49,162, but again, precise and nirn both pulled pretty respectable numbers here, and so even the averages are within 1 standard deviation of each other. So again, it's margin of error. So I'm going to need to do a lot more testing. I'm going to be asking around for other Stamina Nightblades, kind of what they're able to pull, what their testing has kind of unveiled for them. Because again, I don't really play my Stamina Nightblade all too often. I parse with all my DPS, but again, I don't consider myself necessarily an expert in any single class or spec. I just try to be the master, jack of all trades, basically, right? So I'm experienced in all of them, but I'm not necessarily a master in them. So somebody like Lyco or maybe Gilliam the Rogue, I would keep an eye on those two channels. Those guys generally are pretty much like top of the line when it comes to Nightblades, so definitely keep an eye out for those two channels, and definitely keep an eye on any of the top rating guilds, anybody from Mechanically Challenged, Hodor, Blind Luck. Those guys all are much better than me when it comes to DPS and kind of testing things, especially so really keep an eye on Gilliam. I'm sure he will figure out the mathematics behind it, that I was kind of admittedly too lazy to do. But you also have to realize now that if we're not going nirn infused, we're running precise, so our crit's going to be a little bit higher, so CPs might also change a little bit, our CP distributions might change, and just you have to also take into consideration all the additional crit chance. Basically means you should see a little bit less variation with crits, but there's still kind of the RNG factor of crits. You might have one very good parse where you get like all of your impales are crits, and then you might have really bad parse the next one where you only half of them are crits. So that's something to take into consideration with all these parses, which is why I did 5 rather than my usual 3, because I did want to take that into consideration because of all those high crit chances. And again, if I'm a Bosmer, so if I was a Red Guard, I'd obviously be able to pull a lot higher, not a lot higher, but I'd be able to pull a little bit higher with a little bit better sustain and everything. So that's basically what it stands right now. Right now, assuming that they don't change anything else, it seems like you can go with infused precise, nirn precise, infused precise, nirn. So if you already have nirn infused, you might not necessarily need to transmute them. Again, it's about like a 1.5k DPS loss from what I've heard and seen from other DPS Sam Nightblades. It's about the same, around 1 to 1.5k DPS loss. So it's still going to be very, very good. You're still going to pull higher than Magic DPS. But if you do want to eke out, kind of get back that 1k that you lost, you will want to transmute that nirn potentially back into precise or something like that. So that is basically it for this video. I hope you guys found this informative. If you guys have any questions or comments or suggestions on how I can test this a little bit further, I do know that I am missing infused nirn, but the reason why I didn't do that was because nirn on the offhand doesn't really contribute as much weapon damage as nirn main hand, so that's one of the reasons why I didn't test infused nirn. Nirn is much better off on the main hand because you get the full 200 versus about like 20% of that, so about 40 compared on your offhand. So that's, if you guys were wondering, that's why I don't have infused nirn on here, because nirn on the offhand only contributes about 40 weapon damage compared to 200 on the main hand. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys found it informative, and I will see you guys in the next dungeon.